Hello, welcome to the Crackpot Podcast.
It's gonna be a beautiful day to start up a revolution. Molotov cocktails, martini shotgun shells, wild, 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 wild one. God forbid the cops get called. I say the more the merrier inside this free-for-all. By God, I gotta see it fall. I got front row tickets to the greatest show of all.
Alright, good afternoon.
Hey, what?
Hey, we're going to bring you a little quick idea that we have here. We're going to bring you buried news items.
Current events that won't be current by the time you hear this.
You will not hear them currently, but they will still be new to you because they will not receive widespread coverage. So the first one comes from our good friend Ishmael. Ishmael sends us a link that this happened in Camp Springs, Maryland, which isn't really your neighborhood, right? That's like down near D.C.
It's PG County, Prince George's County, and this is where Washington, D.C. police force has driven, and gentrification has driven many poor black folks into the adjacent county in Maryland. If you remember the old Harm City books, the Mac Daddy was from PG County, from a place called Capitol Heights.
Capitol Heights. Well, let me read this. It's very short. I'm going to read the whole thing. Ready? A Maryland police chief says 7 adults were injured when shots were fired at a child's birthday party a few miles southeast of the nation's capital. Prince George's County Police Corporal Nicholas Clayton tells the Associated Press that the shooting occurred Saturday night near the Camp Springs and Morningside areas. So you're having a kid's birthday party at night. like boring moms like me schedule them at 10 o'clock in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And we schedule them with like an end time. Like, you will leave, okay? You will get here at 1 and you will leave at 4. We got to wrap this thing up. Anyway, Police Chief Hank Stawinski said at a press conference that around 12 people were at a 2-year-old's birthday party. A 2-year-old. When an individual fired shots into the gathering. Police say 3 of 7 people shot are critically injured, but Stawinski said they are expected to survive. That's good. All 7 are between the ages of 18 and 20. These youngsters, young adults, were attending a 2-year-old child's birthday party. Interesting. The chief didn't release information about the suspect, who is still at large. Too bad about that. Suspect at large, and we're not going to tell you what he looks like. He says, oh, this is funny. He says there may have been words exchanged before the shooting. What kind of a clue is that?
Okay, that means that the code here. That means we're supposed to excuse this shooting. It's
right,
not
because it's a beef.
And not worth his investigation.
Yeah, it's some gang beef, and we don't really care.
I usually blame the Amish for these types of things in Maryland, but that's pretty... To get to that part of Maryland from Pennsylvania in a horse and buggy, it's pretty tough, even for the Amish drive-by gangster thugs.
A lot of toll roads.
So I'm suspecting it's a local PG County guy. The single biggest food stamp purchase in a supermarket is also the single biggest purchase in a supermarket in Maryland, and it is a decorated cake. And these cakes will run from $80 to $300. And they are completely covered by food stamps, which are supposed to provide food for children, but they instead provide ornate and gaudy cakes for the child to look at and get one piece of before all the gathered adults feast on it. So these kind of parties, in a way, you could say this is more respectful to the child because, we're other types of people that are not kings or queens. They will have a couple of parents at the child's birthday party and they'll invite a bunch of little kids. So there'll be supervising parents and then a bunch of kids there. But these people, in Maryland, this is very typical, there'll only be one child at the party and it'll be the one whose birthday it is. And then once they start fussing and crying and it's getting too late, an older sister or a younger aunt will be detailed to shut the kid up and take it away. And then the party will roll on and on. And these are very often cases of mass shootings. This is a mass shooting that will never be listed as a mass shooting in mainstream databases. Once a party like this is announced, then it becomes a really good target. There might have been a guy, maybe one of the girlfriends of the mother, one of the boyfriends of the mother of this child who could be suspected to be there. So somebody from a different gang will just show up and hose down the yard. So your sublethal pistol shootings in places like Baltimore, Chicago, Detroit are very often like this, where somebody's shooting from an alley, a driveway, or a street into a yard where people are having a party at night. And, it's kind of long range for a pistol. It's usually done with a 9mm and, from like 30, 40 feet away at dark. So it's not like Baltimore City. Most of the killings are walk up and shoot you in the head from 6 inches away kind of things. This is something that's more the Chicago windage distance.
Okay, explains the low lethality of this attack.
In fact, I think I would classify this type of shooting as a Chicago windage shooting. It's the Chicago windage.
For scholars of American violence, mark this one down as a Chicago
windage.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to bring you one from our good friend Tony. Please, listeners and friends, if you have news that you want to hear us talk about, just send it on over. Tony sent me this link. Portland police say a man and a woman were arrested early Saturday morning for assault. And the man who was attacked says it's all because of his Make America Great Again hat. At around 12:50 a.m., officers responded to the report of a disturbance at Growler's Tap Room located in the 3300 block of Southeast Hawthorne Boulevard. Luke Lesnar told Fox 12 that he and his wife were on a date night. He said right when they got there, they were attacked outside the patio by people upset about the hat. I got mobbed by everybody that was in that bar outside. People came from the inside out, just circled me and my wife. Lesnar attests that things escalated between the people outside the bar. That's when police say 22-year-old Leopold A. Hauser and 23-year-old Adebisi A. Okuneya, maybe, assaulted Lesnar and his wife, surrounding me, like literally surrounding me, pushing me. I'm just trying to get through, trying to stop the person from hitting me, from taking my hat, and then I get sucker punched. The suspects were arrested a few blocks away. Tony is a very good reporter, and he knows where to look in the police records, and these two people were released without charges same day. So I wrote back to Tony that Portland is like an autonomous political entity, where, and many or most cities are at this point. They don't participate with whatever legal framework is going on for the rest of us. You guys in Baltimore, they had, because of the sanctuary city policy, they let go some alien who then went on to rape a little girl the next day or something. Sanctuary City.
Well, this is what you get, and I think wearing a MAGA hat in a sanctuary city when you're a guy that's not prepared, to do combat, that's a sucker move. So he definitely was sucker punched because this guy was a sucker. If you are wearing one of those hats, you can take it off and use it as a weapon, a defensive weapon. They're real good against knives, but most of them just slash against the eyes.
Yeah, we talked about the guy with a sword in San Francisco briefly. He was attacked for his hat, and he got his sword out, and now he's the one sitting there on attempted murder charges.
Right. So if you're attacked for your MAGA hat, use your MAGA hat as a protective weapon. You pull it off at the bill with your offhand, not your. If you're right-handed, you pull it off with your left hand with the bill and flick the knob, the little button on the top of the hat. Flick that at the eyes of a person, and you'll be able to actually reach them with either the button or the back rim of the hat from a farther distance, and they can punch you. And it's not. No court has ever conceived of the hat as a weapon, so you wouldn't have to face any weapon charges here. And if you're some Republican hipster faggot in Portland out there with his wife, this is.
You're in enemy territory.
Put something in the eyes of the attacker is very important because you need to get your wife to safety. This guy sounds like, from the description, that he was still moving forward and trying not to get hit. But we don't hear him taking any action to defend his wife. Okay? He should have grabbed his wife with his right hand, pulled off his hat with his left hand, flicked it in the eyes of those closer to him, and then just told her, keep backing away, okay, and put her in charge of making sure they didn't trip backwards over anything while he's in charge of making sure that they don't get beat up. And there's a bunch of different things that you could do, but this guy obviously didn't think anything through and didn't appear to conceive of himself as a defender of his woman. And he's wearing a hat that's been known to cause belligerence amongst leftist people, and the town's like 98% leftist. And he's taken his woman out like that. This is really ridiculous. He should have been stabbed in the neck. Okay. And
that's really harsh judgment.
Yeah. He should have been stabbed in the neck.
Well, look, let's do.
Attractive. She should have been detailed to go to Tony Cox's, welcoming arms to, receive some protection. That's.
Oh, okay, I want to talk because we need to just be nice a little bit. And the point is that we want, and probably if you're listening, you understand this already, but you need to know that if you're a white guy with a MAGA hat, you're going to get attacked. The courts will not support you. The police will not support you. Just operate on this premise. Okay?
And unless you're Big Ron.
Okay, you're Big Ron.
Big Ron wore a MAGA hat.
Okay, let me make the exception. Big Ron, you can wear the MAGA hat whenever you want. All right? He knows that. He doesn't need me to tell him.
He used it as a conversation starter.
Yeah.
Well, see, he's not a belligerent guy. He's a very charming, personable guy. He doesn't try to start.
No, but this guy wasn't. In Portland, he didn't start anything. He just wore his hat.
No, but Ron knows how to diffuse violence. Okay? This guy does not understand violence.
Right.
He doesn't have the facility to diffuse it. So unless you're a person that's capable of diffusing violence, and he did it as a social study to see. He was just curious. That he was not worried that anybody out there that would try to hit him would be able to get the job done.
Right.
Okay. And part of it also had to do with he's a really big dude. Probably if Jason McMillan was walking around Portland with a MAGA hat on, probably nobody would try to beat him up.
And it was a couple years ago, and I think that tensions have increased. Does Ron still wear it?
Oh, I don't know, but he was doing this in Baltimore City 3 months before the election that got Trump elected. Okay, people were going nuts in Baltimore there. The one black woman who ran into 7-Eleven when he was wearing that hat just looked at him and started to cry.
Oh, man.
Hey, baby.
What's
said,
wrong with people?
She said, well, you got that racist hat on. And he takes his hat on. He said, baby, I'm not racist. He said, I want more. I'm a construction guy, and I want more jobs for guys in Baltimore in the construction trade. And I think Trump's the guy for that. That's why I'm voting for him. And she's like, oh, really? And, the only thing she'd been told is Trump's a racist. But of course most people, would get offended and act angrily. And then this would just continue this anger
Escalate.
mechanism. Okay. So you gotta be enough of a disciplined person to not react with anger, but react with cunning and, manipulative woke deviltry.
That's in rare supply in Portland.
Right.
It's it went down by 50% when you left. So.
I did. Exactly. I did walk by that place during the day once.
The Growler or something.
Yeah. In that area, but.
All right. Well, the third one, you have to do Atlanta.
Oh. Maybe you can link the Colin Flaherty piece here. Colin Flaherty posted all this stuff on Eben Violence on his BitChute channel. And he was covering a news story. And there was a lot of local Atlanta news footage for this. A popular pale-face fan in a pale-face neighborhood was walking out of a building, and a young, oppressed, non-enriched individual drove up on a bicycle and just lit this guy up, pumped him full of lead, killed him, and drove off. This was considered a very senseless crime because it didn't appear to have anything to do with any drug beef or gang war or anything like that. And the people there were up for being witnesses. They would give a description. They would say where the guy went, because this was not an Eben neighborhood. So the police quickly investigate this, and they end up with a suspect. And this causes a huge backlash that many murders of young Eben warriors in Atlanta have not been solved yet this year. However, the racist police jump right on this case of this paleface being killed, and they solve this thing right away. Colin does point out, because he's got a lot of cop connections. I think he used to be a cop. He comes off like one of these big Irish pig goons, rah-rah, cops are perfect, kind of thing. But he does point out the absolute truth that you cannot investigate the killing of an African-American person in an African-American neighborhood because nobody will talk to you. And people who do talk to you, are in danger of having their lives ended because it's not important in African-American neighborhoods if African-Americans are slaughtered. It's only important that it's kept within the family. So there's not a possibility of serving most murders of African-American men because African-Americans have a negative level of care when it comes to their own men being killed. They not only don't care if their own men are being killed, they obstruct the investigation of the death of these men. Society just throws their men into the garbage pit. The people who lived where this happened and knew this young man, they were willing to be witnesses. So Colin points this out. But what he doesn't point out, and maybe he's not thinking this way because he still thinks that the government exists to protect the people, and it's just leftist people outside of the government that are, causing all these problems. This is the Fort Sumter of the race war in America. I'm saying it right now. What was said to the media, what was agreed to by the media, what was agreed to by African American people and European American people who were at this conference that was all about the injustice of having the murder of a paleface by an African American investigated. It was until every murder of every black man is solved, it's a crime to investigate the murder of somebody. And that news video, you should look at it. And when you do, you should notice how surprised, how agitated, and how defeated the police spokesman acted. This was, what are we, shocking to him? and he was behaving in such a way that people in positions of relative power behave when they feel the world slipping out from underneath them.
The whole concept of justice is inverted, or, I mean, like, justice is, we're trying to match things up, match damage with punishment, and this is like, now we have to match it the other way,
This is the start of it. It's going to bloom from here. At the very moment of this conference, the beleaguered police chief was declaring that this was a heinous killing and it had nothing to do with race. It was the fact that it was such a senseless act that this had to be punished. Okay, that was what he was saying, but that's going to change because he was put under a lot of pressure by the media and the community. And what you're going to see result from this, it's going to spread from city to city, and it's going to get more intensive everywhere. And you're going to have low priority investigation for palefaces who are shot and killed. That's it. It's open season, and there's an open push on the African American side to make the killing of a white man not as important as the killing of a black man, which any group of people that gets in control of a government apparatus want to try to make the lives of their people more valuable than the lives of other people. That makes sense. But
it's kind of weird, though, because they don't actually want their own murders solved. They just want to make sure your murders aren't solved.
Right. They want more value on their, and this is an interracial murder that should not be investigated according to the African American community. Yet, when there's an interracial killing that goes the other way, it's cause for a riot. And so that's not the significant part of this. Nothing about the African American perspective on this has changed for 100 years. But what is different about this is that the predominantly female Caucasian people who showed up at this city council meeting, they agreed with the angry Africans. Okay, so that's it. They basically agreed that it's a heinous crime for a white man to kill a black man, but when a black man kills a white man, it shouldn't even be investigated until all the black on black murders have been solved, which are impossible to solve because you don't have witnesses. So they're basically calling for a moratorium on investigations of the murders of white men. That's what this distills to, and everybody's going to deny that. I even know a white nationalist that watched this and said, oh, no, that's not what this was. I was like, yes, this is where it starts. This is the Fort Sumter of the next war. I mean, this is it. The hunt is on. The dinner bell has been rung. Okay.
I see it kind of incrementally because it's a big step, but it's on the same line of, like, you can't call the police on black people who are littering. You can't call the police on black people who are trying to get into your building. You can't arrest shoplifters who didn't steal enough merchandise. You can't, so it's like this whole march where whatever justice, whatever that word means, doesn't apply to black people.
Everything you described is actions against black people. This is an action against a white person that's lethal, that kills them.
Yes.
It's supposed to be investigated. If there's a possibility that if this results in a conviction that you could have a riot, this is, there's different ways that this is going to develop, but yes, this is an evolution. This is part of a step in this progression or evolution, but I think it's a huge step because so many of the people that are in the target population, right now, black on white killings are still pretty rare. All right. I mean, you get most all black killings, most all killings.
I mean, they're rare compared to black on black, right. But they're not rare.
Rare.
They're not rare, though.
In Baltimore, if you have 340 killings by black people, only like less than 10 of them are of white people. Okay, and the population.
Yeah, but there's
the population white population in Baltimore is 35%. Okay, so it doesn't even have anything to do with it. It's not reflected in the access. So what I think this is going to result in is it's going to, in Baltimore, after the Freddie Gray riots, murders of white folks went up slightly, not a lot, but slightly. But beatings and robbings of whites went through the roof. It multiplied. So I think what this right here, starting from this thing in Atlanta, what you're going to see is an expansion of the murders, of black on white murders, because this is a drumbeat here, like they have in South Africa, where you effectively have a call to kill white people, with a stipulation that there shouldn't be any investigation from the government. Most people aren't going to agree with me here, but I'm saying it now, so 2 years down the road, you can say, well, fine, we didn't believe you then. This is going to spread.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. This train is only moving in one direction.
Right. And it's very important to hunt out, for the government to permit to hunt out the population that it does not want. For instance, I'm in Utah right now. Utah just gave out 70-some cougar tags. Utah's decided it's got too many cougars. Cougars show too much agency. Okay, cougars make their own decisions. They don't listen to the government. Cougars believe in, personal autonomy and self-reliance. So cougars have to die. So they've actually put a price on their head. Now with people, you've got to be more diplomatic about it, because the way the society wants you, you still want the approval of most of the people. And you can easily get that by lying to them, even while you're cultivating sanction for their death.
This is the place where James makes predictions and they come true to everyone's misfortune. Thanks a lot, James.
Hey. You heard it here.
You heard it here. Oh, man. So that was, what are we calling that? Buried news. Don't expect that news to trend in social media.
Outer space, Mother Earth can wait. We will take the ones worth saving. Pack your bags, we are vacating now. Forever, forever. There's a cosmic radio in my head, and it's reading news articles, and the correspondent sadly said the universe is flat. He also mentioned that gravity is caused by our cavities and our reflection of time's not a receding headline, it's all mass produced in the back of our minds. Let's face it, there's some things that we will never know, and I don't ever want to know. And so it goes. Let's fuck it up, let us run amok. hills out yonder, through the traffic and the people too. Boy, it really makes me wonder